Okay. Are we ready? No? I'm seeing a mix, so I'm going to say we're ready. Who is our opening speaker from the proposition?
It is me.
Okay. Okay. Isa, you may begin whenever you are ready.
Okay. We, as the proposition, essentially concur with the idea that music is getting inferior over time. I want to ask you a question. Describe music. Whenever it's ABBA, Adele, Nirvana, or even Taylor Swift, I believe that music is a tool for us to communicate our emotions. Shouldn't the music be genuine and varied when we use it to express our emotions in some way? As technology advanced with time, a recurrent theme emerged throughout the various music from the 2000s. It can be demonstrated by Beyoncé's Single Lady, Michael Jackson's Beat It, Missy Elliott's Get Your Freaks On, the Beats Boy Good Vibrations, and many more. However, listing all them all would take all day because there are so many. It has been demonstrated that younger generations are leaning towards older music like David Bowie, ABBA, the Proclaimers, and many more, since it's more authentic and not the same. ABBA is a good example of this because, according to Spotify, people between the age of 18 and 24 stream the band the most on Spotify. In this debate, we'll be discussing how communalization affects music, but also how the improvement on technology throughout time affects music.
All right. Thank you, Isa. Who is our opening speaker from the opposition?
Yes, that's me.
Okay, perfect.
This house is against the notion that music is worsening as we progress through time. Argument one will highlight that with progression, degradation of value is not guaranteed, nor could it be asserted, as music is subjective. We cannot shy away from genres that differ from those of which we personally hold in high regard, thus quashing the passions of those around us. And argument two will argue that it's impossible for music to get better and worse throughout time. Previous eras are revered for their music because the songs that the majority find enjoyable are the songs that the majority remember.
Thank you so much, Nyla. Who is our first speaker for the proposition?
That's me.
Okay, just give me one moment. Okay, Rhea, whenever you are ready.
The meaning of music is one of the most fiercely debated topics of all time. However, it is the proposition's primary belief that music's main purpose is to artistically express and invoke emotion. We all have wildly different feelings and experiences, so logically, music should be a diverse and evolving art. However, as time progresses, music is falling prey to the terrifying force of commercialization. Today, a frightening number of musicians are signed to billion-dollar companies whose primary goal is to make profits, not fresh quality music with intent and impact. Because of this, music is getting less genuine and diverse. We see a song become a big hit and then a giant influx of copycats vying for as much money as possible. If you don't believe me, well, it's backed up by science. In 2012, Spanish researchers ran 500,000 songs from 1955 to 2010 through an analytical AI model. The robot found that over the years, the variety of harmonies across songs has dropped significantly, making all music sound the same. This sameness has blinded our generation, addicting us to certain kinds of songs designed by business people to sound familiar and safe, trapping us in our comfort zones and tricking us into funding their sales tools, not musicians' art. How can the opposition claim that this is better than the vibrant, authentic, and human music of the past? A glaring example of this is the IV-VIIV progression, a chord found in lots of modern music. It has been used in older songs, however, 72% of the songs that center around it provided on its Wikipedia page were recorded in the past 20 years. This is one of the many examples of a chord which was stolen from its creative use in older songs and ruined by modern music.
Heidi, do you have a POI you'd like to ask?
Yeah, so with this...
Hold on, Rhea needs to accept or decline it. Sorry, Heidi.
Okay.
I'll accept.
Yes.
So with this chord progression, this is a very popular chord progression that has been used in the last 20 years. But could you not argue that this allows more accessibility for those who want to explore music that don't actually pertain any like musical knowledge like already. So they are able to learn these 4 chords and they have a basis which they can grow on. You can't have progression without somewhere to start. And this is a perfect place to start. Even though it's used a lot, what you're talking about, you're not talking about other factors. So you say there's a lack of harmonies, and you're saying that this chord progression is being used excessively, but you're not talking about rhythmic variety, dynamic variety, melodic variety, and the actual message behind the music. And to be honest with you, statistics don't lie. I can think of a couple off the top of my head that use the C, G, A minor, F chord progression, like, I don't know, Let It Be, Let It Go, stuff like that. And each of them have a different message behind it. And they are listened to by millions. Statistics don't lie. You can check Spotify. And they are all built off this fundamental structure that people can build off of and they can progress off of.
That is true. There is always has to be a starting point for someone to progress to a higher level. However, on this list, there weren't people with one song. There were artists who have used this chord. And this list that I found is not just when it uses the chord once or twice. It is a song that centers around this chord, that has this chord for over 60% of the chords in its songs and uses minimal other chords within its music. On this list, modern artists like Taylor Swift, she had 5 songs. Lady Gaga, she had 3 songs. Other artists such as Justin Bieber, Pink, Jessie J, Adele, they had more than 1 song on this list. I'm not saying it's wrong to use this chord in any way. It's a great chord. It sounds great. But when you use it repeatedly, this is demonstrating how our music has been commercialized to sound the same. This is because when music sounds the same, we will listen to it more and more and more. We'll like one of these Taylor Swift songs, so we'll go and listen to the other 4 Taylor Swift songs. This is making, yes, Taylor Swift money, but it's also making the billion-dollar company she's signed to lots of money. Instead of letting Taylor Swift go wild with invention, they are simply making her use the same chord over and over again. This might be her decision, but ultimately she is influenced by the people who are publishing her songs.
But do you not believe that the whole song, when somebody listens to the song, they don't pay attention to the chord progressions behind it? To be fair, when you look at most of these websites, most of them have been like transposed from the original key, so they can be played by other people. So it's like they've been moved up a couple semitones, or they've been moved down a couple semitones to actually reach the key of C, so it's more accessible for other people. That is like a fact. But nobody really pays attention to the chords behind it. It's about the melodies and the other factors within the songs that make the song more attractive. The actual chord progression is the basis of these songs. If you think about I know Lewis Capaldi, Someone You Loved, that is based on those 4 songs. But have you ever watched him sing it? The actual, when he belts the chorus, when he actually, you feel that emotion, you could start tearing up. It's the emotion behind the lyrics and the emotion within the song. It's not just the 4 chords.
It is not just the 4 chords, you're correct in that. However, we do psychologically pay attention to the music that's going on underneath the lyrics. Of course, our conscious mind is focusing on what the singer is saying and the immediate thing that's presented to our ears. However, there is a subconscious to music. Music is an entertainment and an art, but of course it is also a science. And it has been shown that these chords, when we are used over and over again, that is acclimatizing us to always naturally wanting to hear these chords. Shouldn't we reach out and shouldn't we stop listening to the same music, which we have been almost psychologically manipulated to enjoy by just the sheer amount of times this chord is used? And we're not noticing it. Of course, we're focusing on whether they're singing about a breakup, whether they're singing about something else, whether they're singing about personal issues, work issues, whether they're rapping, whether they're singing soul, whether they're doing blah, 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 blah. That's what we're focusing on. But our mind is always processing these things, and that ultimately goes into our long-term memory and affects how we like things. And all of this is to make more money. They're not doing it because they think this chord is good or it has health benefits or whatever. They're doing it because they want more money and because they want us to like the same music, to go and listen to those 4 other songs, 3 other songs, 2 other songs that this artist has recorded. So how can you claim that it's okay and that it's better than the past or even the same as the past when people are psychologically manipulating us to listen to their music for their own financial gain?
Well, the argument I'd make is songs are built off the songs of the past. So they have inherited. I actually found a case study. I've got it somewhere here. I wrote it down. It was in classical music. It's here. It's about the claim of like originality within music. So there's a music theory that disproves the fact that like songs that use the same techniques like aren't original, and it was specifically evident in classical music. It's because composing was a learned art form in the past, and it passed on the techniques from teachers to pupil, and it caused melodic and harmonic patterns to emerge within classical music. And it was a concept called schemata, something like that. I don't know how to say it. And a specific example of this is Romanessa, which is a specific harmonic pattern between the bass and the melody that guarantees harmonic and melodic surety. And this was shown in Pachelbel's Canon in D, which is a famous quartet piece played at weddings and stuff like that. And because it was used so widely across the genre, it makes the songs sound the same because the harmonic and bass relationships are similar, but actually they are completely different songs. And this is the same thing that is apparent in all genres. So the music is original. It's not homogeneous. It's just the fact that the techniques are inherited from songs of the past. So you can say that it's been used over this 20 years, but it had to come from somewhere, and it's come from the past genres and the past songs.
I did note that. I said that older music has used it, but it would use it in a way that was evocative, creative, and innovative in their time. Today we hear it in pretty much every song, but 60, 50 years ago, it could have been a newly invented chord or one used much more rarely. What the proposition is trying to claim is that this chord was stolen from its creative use in older music and reused so much by modern music, it is now not creative anymore, it is just boring. However, we do not realize this because we have psychologically acclimatized ourselves to modern music. Now, let me ask you a question. We think about the most popular genre of music today is probably pop. It's literally named after how popular it is. However, think of different subcategories of pop. What is that? Pop rock, pop soul, pop something. Every subcategory of pop is pop something. K-pop, J-pop, it doesn't matter. It is pop something. It is a different genre taken and mixed with pop to make a less authentic version of it. If we rewind 30 years, let's say the 80s and 70s, the most popular genre of music then was probably rock and roll, that kind of thing. However, if I can list different subcategories of rock and roll, let's look. Indie, grunge, heavy metal. They are so different. If you listen to, for example, Rage Against the Machine versus Arctic Monkeys, they both take subcategories of pop, but rock, they are completely different. However, these different categories of pop, for example, a pop rock artist like Pink and a pop soul artist like Ariana Grande, they do sound slightly different, but not to the massive diversity that we once saw in music.
Rhea, your time is up.
Oh, sorry. For the
No,
I wasn't going back to my point or for the POI.
Sorry?
That was for the POI. No, that wasn't for my argument.
Oh, that wasn't part of the argument. I'm so sorry. I'll run that 40 seconds back. Please continue.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
Okay.
So back in the day, the different subcategories were wildly different because music was about entertaining people. It was about expressing your emotion, and that was why it was so diverse, because all these people had different ways of expressing their emotion. Whether it was indie, which is usually quite dreamy, a bit slower, or whether it was heavy metal, which is loud and angry and in your face. However, with pop, we just get different amalgamations of the same old chord over and over again. I'm not saying that this chord is bad. The proposition never claimed that this chord was bad. We're saying this chord has been made bad by modern music because they just keep coming back to it. Why can't they find new ideas? Why can't they invent a wildly different genre of music, which isn't pop something? Because this chord is being used over and over again because this is commercialization. They want us to listen to it over and over again. They want us to get more money. We don't buy albums anymore. We click on Spotify and listen to one song. That's why they're trying to make every song the same. Because if we bought this in an album, we'd hate it. They all sound the same. We'd hate it. It would be ridiculous. We'd go back to the store and demand our money back. But on Spotify, we can just click any song and listen to it. So now we have just been manipulated by this invention, which is great, it's accessible, but of course, businessmen have taken advantage of it. We never said this chord was wrong. We just said this chord was reused so many times that now it's kind of boring. And although we might not focus on that consciously, as you said, we are always focusing on it subconsciously, and that is just manipulating us. So again, how can you claim that this manipulation is worse than the past, where, for example, rock and roll, again, we have such different, wildly and genuine forms of music?
Well, you are just talking about the pop genre. Rock and roll, that still exists today. You can go and choose to listen to rock and roll if that's how you express your emotions through music. But these people, they aren't being manipulated. They are choosing to listen to the pop genre. The statistics don't lie, I repeat. These songs have been listened to over and over again because they are enjoyed by the people. They bring nostalgia. And because most pop songs are written towards the youth, which are more impressionable, they grow with the way they perceive the music, the way they listen to it. It's the kind of songs that they enjoy and they've grown up with. It brings a sense of nostalgia. You are still able to listen to other genres. It's just what the people of today are choosing to listen to.
But this isn't about listeners, this is about musicians. Like, for example, the most famous rock and roll people.
Guys, we have to wrap this up. I love it, and I hate telling people to wrap up POIs because it's like the most authentic and organic part of a debate, but we're never going to get to anyone else's argument. But I see the points made on both sides. I've noted the points made on both sides, the theory, the passion. I love it. But, like, come on, guys.
Okay, I'll finish up my argument.
Okay, thank you so much, Ray. I'm sorry.
This is one of the many examples of a chord which was stolen from its creative use in older songs and ruined by modern music. Now it isn't interesting or evocative, it's boring. But we've heard it so much, the original music of the past sounds strange to our generation's brainwashed ears. When was the last time a wildly different genre of music was invented? When was the last time we had a musical revolution? A long time ago. Change is bad for steady sales, diversity creates competition. If we want to save music, we have to look to our past in order to prevent a post-apocalyptic future in which all art is a commodity to be exhausted, like music is today. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Rhea. Okay, who is our first speaker from the opposition?
That's me.
Excellent. Heidi, after Rhea's first argument, you have to hit back hard. Let's go.
Right.
3, 2, 1.
We begin this story with an aspiring young musician. Eyes alight with excitement, wonder, and enjoyment that comes with music. A child with their heart set on a career of passion within the music industry. The proposition believes that this is doomed to fail, right? The increasing homogeny and decreasing variety will lead to a very lackluster and unenjoyable career, correct? So would you be able to uphold your beliefs and convictions, sit there and stare hardly into a child's eyes alight with embers, and harshly stamp out the sparks of a fire that is yet to burn, crush their dreams and shred their soul, as you tell them that their dream is not worth the effort, and will inevitably fail due to the lack of people in the industry accepting of their style of music? Or will you be selfish? Let the embers grow into a fire. Let a child grow with false hope to save yourself the emotional torment. Or would you be scared that they would realise that what you told them was lies? The fact is, even though generalised pop tends to be representative of music at present, it does not allow for the consideration of different genres that explore octaves, time signatures, improvisation techniques, harmonies, dynamics, rhythmic variation, instrumentation, timbres, recording techniques, amongst many others. Each and every song and genre is individualistic and unique and is accepted in the industry of music, even if some are overshadowed by bigger artists and recognised by less people. Anyone can become a musician. You, me, anyone in this call, anyone in the world. Each one of us will define music in a different way, therefore they cannot be compared. Progression is only made as we progress through time, as this allows for the creation of more meanings, emotions, and techniques. Music from nowadays cannot be compared to the past, as it was targeted towards a completely different audience. If we can't compare the songs of the past to the present, how can we compare songs of the present to the hypothetical medleys within the future passage of time? Music is powerful because it connects minds and emotions while bringing people together no matter their differences. Through melody and rhythm, music breaks down barriers and helps us relate to one another. Even if music holds a different meaning in each and every person's life, as long as it carries out its desired purpose, there is no regression.
All right, thank you, Heidi. Who is our second speaker from the proposition?
It is me.
Excellent. Isa, whenever you're ready.
Following on from my teammates' points on communalisation in music and the homogeneity of modern music, I like to caution you to remember that as time goes on, technology develops, music gradually loses the focus, the effort, and the real feelings required. AI has become a more type-efficient and identific technique within music. It is demonstrated through DJs, because many DJs alter existing songs to make their own twists, but it can also be demonstrated through TikTok when they utilize AI to get any well-known celebrity to sing a song, such as Max Verstappen doing Young and Beautiful by Lana Del Rey, or Frank Sinatra singing Dua Lipa Levitation. When using AI, emotions cannot be communicated efficiently to the audience. Do you truly believe this is an ethical and a non-deception way of creating and expressing art? Some musicians like Noah can take the time studying an instrument before integrating it in their song. However, it is reported that 59.5% of artists are already employing AI in their song. I'm aware that AI is human-made, but is it equivalent to arguing that people are dumb? Autotunes is yet another important aspect of music technology. AI, to put it in simple, is a program that can adjust or fix the singer's voice pitch if it veers too far from the intended notes. It was evidence that musicians like Lorde, Britney Spears, Keith, and Luke Combs were turning more and more to autotune, since they didn't have to develop their voice to match those of Louis Armstrong, Prince, and many more. Instead, they could use the technology to make the music sound personable. This is not to argue there are fantastic singers in the industry, but rather it demonstrates that anyone with a rudimentary understanding of music can create music using technology to create easy casts.
All right. Oh, Heidi, do you have a POI for Isa?
Yeah.
Do you accept, Isa? Do you accept the POI?
Oh, yeah, I'll accept.
Guys, can we keep it to 3 follow-ups? This is going to be the new general rule because I love POIs, but just for the sake of time. Okay, go on.
So I've noticed within I think it's yours and Ray's argument, you focused on the creation of songs. Well, the creation of the songs is the main part of the music industry, but it doesn't involve every single part that branches under the term music. What about all those musicians that are learning music at home? They don't wish to have a career in it, but they just want to do it for fun. Are you going to sit there, like me? I play music at home. I don't record songs. Are you going to sit there, look at me in the eyes, and tell me that my music is getting worse? Because at the moment, it's not for you to tell me that. And this branches under the term of music. It's not just the songs that are being created by artists.
Okay, but what about all the people in the past? We can if you're going to use that point, you've got to let us apply it to your point. What about the billions of people since the beginning of time who have not been making music professionally? I'm talking way back from the tribal music since the beginning of time, where our ancestors are from the cultural music, all the way through the classical ages, from the 1500s all the way up to the 1900s, when we get into more modern music, rock and roll, indie, all those weird types of music. Are you going to tell all of those people that their music is worse than the music is today? Because, I mean, if we're talking technically, there are more people in the past than there are in the present. because every generation adds up. There's just 3 or 4 generations existing on the earth in the present. There have been millions of generations in the past. Are you going to tell 1,000,000 times what we're telling to you, to all those people, that they should stop creating music?
Nyla can go if she wants.
Okay.
Thank you. I don't really understand what the proposition's trying to say. That's our argument is that music hasn't gotten worse throughout time. We think it's stayed the same. It's not subject to getting better or worse. So I don't really understand the proposition's point.
Actually, yeah. Wait,
I was
Rhea,
gonna say
can you
that.
reiterate?
Yeah, I can. I'm here, right? Yeah.
And oh, sorry, no, I said, can you reiterate?
Oh, can I reiterate? Oh, okay. Yeah. So I did not realize you were saying that, but we can still use our point. If you're saying that music is staying the same, well, you made a point, Heidi, about pop music. Pop music isn't the only genre of music, but it is definitely the most dominant force on our planet right now. Of course, there are other genres of music. However, the wildly populated halls of fame for these genres, all of their people, all of their singers are from the past. So, for example, I love rock and roll. I love it. But my favorite rock and roll artists are not recording today because rock and roll has shriveled and died in the face of commercialized pop music. Yeah, Nyla?
Yeah, I thought your point, Rhea, was that pop music is the most dominating force on the planet. Why are you talking about rock music?
I'm saying because Heidi has claimed that pop music isn't the only type of music on the planet, and I'm acknowledging that the proposition acknowledges that that is true. However, which I will go on to say, even in those tiny genres of music, all of the famous people are from the past. Like, for example,
That's subject to personal preference. There are plenty of people alive right now. What about Muse? They're a famous rock band. Or
however,
person.
name a jazz artist who has been writing in the past 20 years. A really famous jazz artist who everybody knows.
Michael Bublé?
Would you say he's more famous than Louis Armstrong?
That's not your question. You said name a famous jazz artist. It's
Yes,
not
but he doesn't.
more famous. It's a matter of personal preference. It doesn't mean that music's gotten worse. It just means the majority prefer Louis Armstrong. And if anything, that's our point, that there's nothing wrong with what the majority likes.
So if the majority prefer Louis Armstrong, then Louis Armstrong's better, and Louis Armstrong's in the past, which means that the past is better.
No, but with that same point, you could say that pop is a good force in the music industry because the majority prefer pop. That's why it's called popular music. But you don't agree with that.
Yeah, we don't agree with that because pop is one of the most commercialized forms of music out there. In jazz, no one was thinking about money. Louis Armstrong was broke. He was broke when he came to Louisiana. He didn't have any money. He had his trumpet, and that was it.
And then he got famous.
And then he got famous, yeah. But he wasn't manipulated because no one really, music was a thriving business then. Thriving business because it was art.
But your point is that music is still thriving today. You said pop music is the most powerful force on the planet. So surely it's thriving more today.
Can I make a point?
It is thriving, but that's because they are signed to billion-dollar companies, and we are saying that music, even though it's more popular today, is getting worse because of the intent at which it's created.
Okay.
All right. Your position doesn't have any more questions or points of information.
Excellent. Heidi, do you have another POI?
Well, I was just going to say that really wasn't the point that I brought forward. The point that I brought forward was that what you were talking about, you weren't within your argument, you weren't talking about the entirety of the music industry. Like, the industry is like making money, obviously, but under the term music, that includes every single person who makes music. And I was used me as an example, but that could be anybody who likes to sit at home, tinker on the piano, play a musical instrument. And you're going to sit here and tell me that every single musician of the past, every single person that's ever played a musical instrument is better than me because they were in the past.
They faced more struggles. They did face more struggles. For example, if I want to make music, I don't have to learn a musical instrument. I can code. Like, I know about tech. I'm quite a techie person. I can make a song right now. I don't have to learn to sing. I can't sing. I can't play any instruments. I've never picked up an instrument in my life and learned how to play it properly. I have zero understanding of musical theory. I'm terrible at writing emotive lyrics, and I'm just not an artist. However, I can create a song using AI, using auto-tune, using things like GarageBand, using pre-recorded stuff from more talented people and mixing it together. So although we're not saying that everyone is worse, we are saying the majority is worse. The majority of music we listen to comes from the music business, music that is recorded by popular artists. But also, today, we're not saying that you're bad at music. We're saying that there are thousands of people who do not know how to make music, like me, who could still make music. And is that an ethical way to make art? If we are not learning anything, if we have zero understanding and zero desire to create music, I have zero desire to become a musician. I am terrible at music. I am terrible. I can't sing, I can't play any instruments, I am terrible at songwriting, I am terrible at art in general. However, I can create music. I can create what people today are calling art and getting money for. And we are saying, is that an ethical way to create art? And because so many people are doing this, in my music class, we had a whole term learning how to make a song online without ever picking up an instrument, without ever recording anything ourselves. We literally just dropped and dragged stuff on tech, online. We are not saying that real musicians who are really trying hard, we're not saying they're bad at music. We are saying the majority of people are either influenced by commercialization in the popular industry, or if they're not influenced by commercialization, they are influenced by technology, because the majority of them will be stealing music from other people by using AI, using autotune, using GarageBand, by mixing stuff together and not creating their own art. If you use me as an example, if I created a song using AI, never learning an instrument, never putting any work, I literally go online, use AI, autotune, put instruments in, would you say that I am on an equal level to even you, who you said you learn, lots of instruments, you do GCSE music, you're probably a great musician. I can make a song that some people would say sounds similar to yours, but you've spent your whole life learning instruments, and I've gone online and done it in 20 minutes. We are not saying that everyone's getting worse. We're saying that technology is invalidating real artists like you and is overall making music worse because people aren't putting in the effort that they need, like you have put in, to make a proper song, to make a real song, not to just go online and do it.
Well, what you've described to me is literally the job of a producer within the music industry. That is its own little umbrella. Not everybody wants to do that. Not everybody wants to go online and technologically create a song. That is a specific career path. There are other people who don't want to do that, which are following the other path of the music industry, which is creating music with instruments.
However, this
Guys,
technology...
I think we're going to end that there. I'm really sorry. We have to move on. I'm sorry, you guys. Okay. Who is our second speaker from the opposition?
That's me, thank you.
Do you want me to shut the door?
Yeah, sure. Sorry, just 1 second.
No worries. Take your time.
Okay. So, you've heard from my team member Heidi about the dangers of squashing the dreams of the next generation. For our society to progress, we need to accept change and be able to allow things like music to grow, even if it becomes different to how we remember. But this brings me back to another point, memory. If I were to ask you what you did yesterday, I am positive that you would give one answer. The most important or most notable thing you did yesterday. You wouldn't walk me through every moment from the time you woke up to when you went to sleep, because the stuff in between wasn't interesting or notable. But where am I going with this? Well, our memories work just the same way with music. If I were to ask you about 80s music, I'm willing to bet you would list bands like Queen or singers like David Bowie. You would tell me the most interesting or most notable people from that era because you've forgotten or don't know about all the bands that flopped and didn't make it. So sure, by comparison, music from the past seems so much better. But I would argue that we've just forgotten about the bad music. We have the same quality of music. The most significant difference is probably how widespread music is nowadays. Now we have the opportunity to share music with everyone, even people who don't necessarily speak our language can understand and enjoy it. Not only is this opportunity incredibly important for bettering our society and the acceptance we have for others, it also allows for development in the music industry. Something like sampling, the act of taking part of a song and adding it to another, is an idea that has become majorly popular in the last few years. Yeah. Yours?
Can I pose a POI? You can accept or reject it.
I accept.
Okay, so you're saying that music, we think it looks better because loads of bands have flopped, right? And we're not acknowledging those bands.
Yeah.
But isn't that point transferable to today? Let me give you an example. Last term, I did a piano piece for music. It was bad. It was really bad.
Mhm.
However, we're not acknowledging that. No one's going to remember Raya's year 8 end of year piece. Nobody. Maybe I'm going to remember it. Maybe some of my family are going to remember it. Maybe my music teacher's going to remember it. Nobody else is going to remember it. We can apply that exact same point to modern music. So, for example, me. Everyone in this room, with the exception of Heidi, who's the next Taylor Swift. Everyone around the world, all the teenage bands, all the people who are trying to make music and who are flopping. That doesn't just happen in the past. There are flops today. Not everyone gets into the music industry.
Well, the difference is, I think, with that is what I'm talking about. I mean, basically, when you're sat in a time like right now, we could look at all the artists that we know and go, gosh, look, like 7 out of 10 of them are terrible artists. I don't like 7 out of 10 of them. In 50 years, you're not going to remember those 7. You're just going to remember the 3 that you liked. Although I know what you're trying to say is like, right now, we're already forgetting the bad ones, so the music is like, exactly right, but it takes time to forget about the really bad stuff. And obviously you're bringing up your exam in school, but I'm talking about like mainstream artists who might not make it. Like, I just as an example, if you like this artist, I'm not, and nothing against her, but Ice Spice is a relatively new artist who could potentially in the next few years just disappear and we could never hear about her again and we could forget her songs. But that's going to take at least 10 years or further along than that to fully forget that she was a part of it and just remember artists like Taylor Swift and Ariana Grande and be like, wow, the 20s had the best music because look at all these like amazing artists we had. So I'm just talking about more like larger scale artists.
But I don't think that's coherent with Heidi's point. Heidi made the really great point that music is not just popular music. It is everyone who ever makes music.
Mm-hmm.
And my end of year piano exam was music. And I've already forgotten how to play. I've already forgotten how to play. It was 4 weeks ago, and I've already forgotten how to play it. So it may take time with massive artists like Ice Spice, who might disappear in the next few years. However, Ice Spice and the industry she works in isn't the only aspect of music. There is also, like Heidi, like your teammate said, thousands of people who are making music at home, and we forget about them in an instant. For example, the 23 other kids in my class who performed their end of year piano exams, I don't remember any of their performances. Not one. And that took, a week, 2 weeks into the summer when I completely forgot their performances. So unless you can manage to align that point with Heidi's point, I don't see what you're saying or how it links to the big picture.
So it doesn't make sense because Heidi's point is that music isn't just pop music. There are multiple genres. There are hundreds of genres because not everyone will enjoy just 1 or 2 genres.
But she also noted about people at home.
Yeah, making different genres of music, making different popularities of music. And your point about you not remembering anyone's piano piece in your class links back to Emily's point, that links to Heidi's point, that because it's not mainstream music, it's not, you can't go back and listen to those pieces on Spotify, you haven't got them recorded, you're going to forget about them quicker. In the same way that on a larger scale, we'll forget about many artists that are contemporary in 10 years. Just because they're on a larger scale, we have wider access to them. It doesn't mean that they're, I don't know, I can't remember what you said.
Let me just lay this out. So Emily is saying, it's fine. Emily is saying that music of the past isn't better. We've forgotten all the terrible artists of the past. And the way we claim that music of the past is better is bad because we're just focusing on the best of the best. I then said, well, we're just focusing on the best of the best today too. And it doesn't take, and as Heidi said, it doesn't take, as Heidi said, popular artists aren't the only kind of artists around. So I get what you're saying, Nyla, about how you're reiterating Emily's point. However, I just don't see how those two things can exist. You're saying that we're forgetting. You're saying that we're forgetting all the bad artists as a way to counteract, as a way to say, well, you're wrong. But Heidi's saying that, well, we have to remember all the artists at home in order to say that she's right. So how does that link together? You're using Heidi's very own point to deflect us.
I think where the confusion is you're saying that we're not talking about all music. We are talking about all music, but as Nyla pointed out, there's a wider and a smaller scale. There was a band in the 80s that I can't remember the name of, which is part of my point. But there's obviously thousands of bands in the 80s that were doing relatively well. There's a band called, I think it's Aha or something.
I've never heard of them.
No, but basically, when you are in that time, there's bands that are doing well at that point in time that you might not like, that you might think are bad, and then you do forget about them later, but they were on a wider scale, as well as artists that were on a smaller scale, but the ones on a small scale we forget about quicker, as you pointed out. No matter what, though, you forget about the bad stuff from this era. I mean, all music, you're going to filter out the stuff that you didn't like eventually, not just like popular artists, but people at home, all those other artists. And my other point is, you were saying about popular artists are the only ones that are big right now. And although that's true, there's some popular artists who may disappear and who may be forgotten, even though they're like number one right now. Doesn't necessarily mean their career is going to last forever, that we're going to remember them forever. That makes sense.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Heidi, I think we might skip over this POI if that's all right.
That's
I'm sorry,
okay.
Heidi, but before we go to closing speeches, I have judge questions. I have a whole bunch, but I've narrowed.
I think Emily needs to finish.
Before the POI. Emily needs to finish her argument.
Sorry, it's just 2 sentences.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. We get so caught up with POIs. Thank you for pointing that out, Nyla. Emily, please continue.
The opposition may try and argue that technology is a bad thing, but that is a very narrow-minded view. All new developments in music have helped better the industry and create new ideas for listeners and artists alike. Overall, anyone who is willing to be open-minded and allow society to progress will be happy to hear about the newest developments in music. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Emily. Now comes the interesting part, judge questions. Okay, I'm going to start with the proposition. So you guys have obviously mentioned in terms of commercialization being one of the main catalyzing factors that's making music worse today. But this element of commercialization and money and how lucrative the production of music has always existed. I mean, think back to the 1500s, the 1600s in England, right? When the Renaissance was starting to influence the English court, the people around the king specifically. People would compose songs that they knew the king liked because it was the most lucrative. It was the easiest to commercialize. So this element of commercialization isn't necessarily new. Money makes the world go round, and it always has. So how do you account for that, or how do you counter that?
Well, how I would account for that is, in the 1500s, if we use your example, it was only the nobility who were listening to music. Poor people would make their own music, and their music was not influenced by commercialization. If we go even further back than that, to the tribes, to cavemen even, their music was not influenced by commercialization at all. So commercialization has been a force that is growing greater over time. If we take these 3 points in history, we have the cavemen, zero commercialization. Music was exactly what that person wanted to say at that time. They didn't have to think about money. They didn't have to think about anything else. The 1500s, commercialization is starting to seep into noble society because, of course, it's going to. But the poor people, the peasant, I'm not going to say that, okay, sorry, that's rude. The working class people are still making music that they love without any thought to what else is going on. And then we come to today, where commercialization has taken over nearly every aspect of popular music, not home music, music that we listen to on Spotify, the music that is worldwide. So as you can see, commercialization, we never claimed that it didn't exist in the past, but it's just it's gotten bigger and bigger over time. But it's gotten to a point today where it's at its breaking point, where today music is often not even about anything the artist really cares about. It's just to make money. If I take the example of Kanye West's song "Easy," it's a lot of it is about the drama and around his and Kim Kardashian's divorce. But that is, well, so people are going to listen to that. I mean, that's in the news. That was everywhere when they decided to get divorced. It was everywhere. And so he is utilizing his celebrity status to make more money. Of course, he's expressing his feelings about that and all of that. However, we have come to a point where musicians are now celebrities. Can you name one other art where the practitioners of it are celebrities? Name one writer who has the same wealth and influence as Taylor Swift. Name one poet, name one painter. Music has reached a point, and that is because of commercialization. For example, writing has very little commercialization. Of course, there are people who publish books, but self-publishing existed forever. We have told stories around campfires since the beginning of time, and that is why writers are not revered as holy celebrities. They don't have massive social media followings. They're not always in the tabloids. It is music where commercialization has been getting steadily bigger over time to the point where today, where it's at its breaking point.
All right, thank you, Rhea. Now a question for the opposition. Okay, I would like you guys to kind of give me your counter argument to the whole idea that music has gone through the same kind of transition as we see fashion has gone through, right? There's this whole idea of fast fashion, and I think music is going through the same thing. People don't spend as much time making music or composing it or putting their feelings into it because nobody spends as much time listening to it as they used to. And I think that element of accessibility, right, that Heidi brought up is great in some regards, but at the same time it makes it so much easier for inauthentic artists to gain a platform. Like, you know, that song that's like A B C D, you know, like, and she's really angry. I think her name's Gail. How she rose to fame, how that song became a thing is because somebody on TikTok commented and said, oh, you should create a song with these lyrics. And everyone was like, wow, she's so original. She came out of nowhere. And then it was like her business manager at, you know, the record company. So yes, it's more accessible. But at the same time, is that really a good thing? Is it becoming oversaturated? Are we just pumping out song after song after song, knowing that, you know, audiences will forget about it next week? How do you guys counter that?
I could take it.
Whoever you guys can do, like, multiple people can pitch in. So,
well,
but
I think
I won't cut you off if it goes on too long. Sorry.
the main thing I would start off with is music has changed because it has been aimed towards a different audience. Most music has always been aimed at the youth because they're more impressionable. It's easier for them to carry the messages. So it's, if you were to say that, like, the music of today, it's not aimed at 90-year-olds. Like, the music of the past was aimed at them when they were kids, and now we've progressed. The audience has changed. And now the music has changed, and you're saying there's less effort going into the songs. I would say that's more due to the attitude of the younger generation. It's what they want to listen to. Where you can argue that it's like to do with businesses and, you know, the industry just wanting more money. But I'd say it's more due to, like, the attitude of the people who are actually listening to the songs. It's not that the actual quality of the music is going down. It's just what the people want to hear.
Rhea, I'm sorry. POIs aren't allowed during judge thingies.
Oh, okay.
Is that all right?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Thank
Does
you,
anybody
Heidi.
else want to add anything?
Oh, sorry. Yes. If you guys want to add, pitch in. I think you guys are muted.
Sorry, I didn't hear what the question was. I just heard you
I
guys.
just asked if you want to pitch in.
No.
Yeah, I think Heidi summed up everything very well. I couldn't put anything to top that, really.
Okay. In that case, I think we're going to move on to closing speeches. So, who's our proposition closing speaker?
Luckily, it's me. I nearly took the introduction. Karma intervened.
Okay. Whenever you're ready, Rhea.
To conclude, the proposition have exposed how humanity has sabotaged music with the modern waves of technology and commercialization. Music once required effort, artistry, and focus, but that once bountiful age has been lost. Today, autotune, AI, and other technologies have made art an algorithm, allowing anybody to make music, instead of going through the blood, sweat, and tears it takes to create an innovative and beautiful ballad. This is invalidating real artists and destroying the true meaning of music in favor of easy cash. Also, the status of art as a commodity further motivates these phonies, fueling not only them, but massive corporations who silently control the music industry for their own gain, erasing older music in favor of vapid moneymakers. They have set up a psychological facade which brainwashes us and is further separating today's listeners with the real human music, all for money. We ask the judges, how can you agree with the opposition when today the music scene isn't made up of artists, but of greedy, talentless people with a basic understanding of music theory and tech? When music has been blended into an emotionless product to be bought and sold, and when art as we know it is threatened by this apocalypse.
All right. Thank you, Rhea. Can we have our closing from the opposition? Who's our closing speaker there?
That is me again.
Excellent. Whenever you're ready.
The proposition argue that commercialization is ubiquitous in contemporary music. The opposition agree. Commercialization is necessary in the quest to share passion and joy through music. The proposition used the example of GarageBand as a testament to the demise of the true artist. In reality, it's good that barriers to music are being broken down. Rihanna's hit Umbrella was actually created on GarageBand. The repeated use of similar melodies isn't a plague to individuality, but a testament to creativity and the widely held belief that human beings are creatures of habit. It's not right to discourage the next Mozart simply because he takes musical inspiration from those who came before him. Thank you.
All right, excellent. Thank you so much, Nyla. I'm going to deliberate. I want to say something. I don't think I'm going to do star speakers, and I'll tell you why. Because I know we did this whole thing of like star speakers get to pick teams. But I think what I want to do, and I think what worked really well in this debate, is by letting Heidi kind of pick the motion. She had like her aha moment when it came to POIs. It just came so much more naturally to her, and it demystified the whole process of asking POIs. So I reckon instead of doing a star speaker per se, especially because we're kind of a smaller group today, instead of doing a star speaker, I'm just gonna have somebody pick next week's motion and pick something that they're really passionate about, because I love seeing Heidi like ask POIs and like seeing her eyes light up when she talks about music. I think that's really great, and I think everybody should have the chance to do that and debate something that they really know well. And I think especially because it's summer, let's do things that are closer to us, are more important to us, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm going to deliberate. Give me like 3-ish minutes to go through all my notes, and I'll be right with you guys. I'm going to also mute my laptop, so feel free to talk without me hearing anything.
Oh my god, I'm screwed.
You did so well.
Thank you.
I wore my
team have been
hoodie
dropping.
for luck.
Nice one. My team were like dropping like flies. At the beginning of the year, I was like, Emily, no, not Emily, wrong person, still learning names. Julia's not coming. Oh my god, well, there's 2 of us. And then Izzy drops out. I'm like, what? Where has she gone? Come back right now. God.
Also, sorry if we've been like leaning in talking. We were in a room with like, well, a house with 2 dogs and like 3 other people. So we've had
we've had to shuffle around.
That's fine. The only reason it's quiet in here is because my door's shut.
But you guys did really well.
What would Raya? What would your dream motion be?
Something really geeky.
Like what? What's geeky for you?
Like Star Wars or something.
I've never
really?
watched Star Wars.
No. Neither have I.
I love Star Wars.
That's the Marvel films.
I love Star Wars. Star Wars
Me
is the best.
too. Who's your favorite
What's your
character?
favorite?
I like the
My
star. That's my favorite character. The star. They're just the nebula.
Don't listen to him.
Oh,
That's my side in the war of stars.
okay.
Just I like the green.
Yoda.
No, it's BB-8. What?
Oh, he's so cute. Orange
He's
and white robot.
orange. No, he's green. He's
No,
green
he's
and
not.
wrinkly.
That's Yoda.
That's Yoda.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Oh my
Okay.
God.
So,
I'm definitely picking Star Wars if I get chosen.
I'd like to do the rice harvest, the like rice farmers motion that I put together a few months ago. That would be good.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, it wouldn't be cool. It would be geeky as well. This thing's like really wobbly, shaky.
I don't think I'll do Star Wars anymore. Now I know Emily likes Star Wars. When we get put on different teams, it's just gonna be so.
You could do. I don't know what. I can't think of anything to debate really. We've done feminism, kind of.
I know we've done
We've
Taylor
done
Swift.
Swift. We've
Personality.
done music. What did we do last week?
Nationalism.
It was
Nationalism.
national.
Oh, that
We've
one was fun, wasn't it?
Yeah.
No.
I have to argue that nationalists are okay. I'm sitting here like I am a disgrace to my ancestors right now.
When I wasn't here. John Locke. Terrorism, we've done terrorism. Or the death penalty, like 2 in 1 kind of.
Hi. Hi, sorry.
Hello.
Sorry to interrupt, guys. I think I have the winners. So the victory for this debate goes to the opposition. And both sides, I need to say, both sides were fabulous. I think one thing that really stuck with me is when Rhea was like answering POIs, I couldn't tell the difference between her answering a POI and her continuing with her speech. And I think that's because that's a really good thing, because I do this a lot. Like as humans, we do this a lot. When you're speaking, when you're saying a speech that you've rehearsed and you've written, whatever, you have this like assertiveness to you. And then when you answer a question, you answer it like you would in real life. You're kind of like more laid back, calmer. But Rhea keeps that energy. And I was like, yes. And I know, Rhea, it was especially hard for you because your teammates kind of had other commitments, and obviously Izza's not feeling too great, and that's nobody's fault whatsoever. But I appreciate that was an extra kind of thing that you had to take on, and you did it fabulously and very gracefully. So thank you, Rhea. But, what swayed me was, okay, first of all, Heidi's POIs. When she said, and the way she interpreted the motion, when she said music isn't just industry, like, and it's true. The motion doesn't say the music industry is getting worse or, commercial music is getting worse. It just says music in general. And I think the way that she interpreted that was so clever, because it was like, okay, well, how about all the artists sitting at home and making music? And I don't think that was necessarily something that the proposition had considered. And it wasn't something I considered until she said it. What else? But I liked when that one POI where it was like, that's not consistent with Heidi's point, because I was like, oh no, it isn't. Like that clicked for me a little bit. So POIs are really excellent in this debate. Everyone was fabulous. I think, however, in terms of people picking their own motions, I've made a list, and we're going to do this week by week. Next week, I really want Rhea to pick the motion. The week after, I want Nyla to pick the motion. The week after that, I want Emily to pick the motion. And the week after that, if Izza's feeling better, because Izza's she needs just a little bit of a break. But if she's feeling better by then, I would love for her to pick the motion. And then after that, I would love for Julia to pick the motion if she's ready to come back and join us. So that's how it's going to go. I'll put this on Slack so everybody knows. But I really think it would just be cool. And it can be the most random thing. Like I'm not expecting you guys to be like, let's debate the different forms of democracy. Like if you want to debate, whether or not the Barbie movie is an accurate representation of women or feminism, like do it. It's in your hands as long as it's appropriate, and yeah, you're good. You're fine. But Rhea, let us know what the motion is, and then I'll assign teams, and hopefully it'll be fun. So yes, thank you guys for today. It was really, really fabulous. And Nyla, Emily, I hope you guys get to catch your train in time. I'm going to finish this soon because I appreciate that you have to go. Heidi, yes.
I just want to let you know that I'm away from like Sunday to like Saturday, I think, next week. So I probably won't be at next debate.
That's okay.
Yeah, I'm away all week next week as well, Monday to Sunday. So
Why don't we do it next? Why don't we skip a week then?
You want to skip a week? I appreciate because it's summer. Like, if you guys are like, look, I need to take a break this week. I want to sit the week out. Like, Izza, I think, is just for our next few debates, she's going to sit them out and just instead be like an observer and listen to the debates. And I was like, that's fine. Because honestly, it's summer. Don't burn out. Burnout is the worst thing ever. Yeah, whatever you guys need to do. Okay, I reckon we skip a week and we get started on, let me pull up my calendar. We get started on, how about the 18th of August, which is the week after next.
Or can we do more like 15th?
15th?
I'm traveling on the 16th.
15th is a Tuesday. Is everyone okay with that? 15th of August?
I can do 18th, but I'll just be somewhere else.
What are our thoughts? I know it's like a little bit far into the future, so I appreciate if we're not all like clairvoyant and like, you know, thinking that far ahead. I don't even think far enough into like what I'm going to have for breakfast tomorrow. So let me know. What do we think?
I don't know how well my argument will be written because I will have been away like most of the week before at camp, so I'll probably be really tired. But I don't really mind.
So should we do it?
Let's do it 18th then. We can do 18th. I'll do it from where I am.
You sure?
Yeah, it's fine. Okay.
Nyla, what are your thoughts? Oh.
Let me just check the time because it's like 8 a.m.
Sorry, I was just checking my calendar, but yeah, I'm good. That's a Friday, right?
Sorry?
The 18th is a Friday, right?
Yes, it is indeed.
Cool.
Okay. What are your? I'm gonna lock in the 18th of August. Again at this kind of time. So at 1 p.m. English time, 6 p.m. Dubai time. I don't know where you'll be.
I'll be in Sri Lanka, so that's just an hour ahead of Dubai, so I'm fine.
Okay, cool, excellent. What are your? I know I'm gonna have to let you go soon, but Rhea, Nyla, since you guys are gonna be like kind of the first two to give us your motions, what are your preliminary thoughts?
I'm gonna do something really geeky.
Oh no, like Star Wars?
Yeah. No, I won't do something like completely obscure. I will not like limit you guys like that. But I don't want to do something historical. I want to do something like completely out there.
Fair enough. It's up to you. But I'm glad that you mentioned that to me because I need to start reading up on Star Wars so I can like judge that debate properly and ask the judge questions. So how many movies are there? What do I need to watch?
Oh my god, there's so many movies. You don't need to watch it. It's fine. I won't do anything obscure. No, there's 9 in the Skywalker saga, and then you've got Rogue One, Solo, and a couple more spin-offs.
Okay, so I better get started like today.
And then there's the TV shows too.
Oh,
and
great.
The Mandalorian.
Yeah, like that. I've got a Mandalorian sticker somewhere.
What about you, Nyla? What are your thoughts? What are your like?
I would still like to go with the the unfair harvest. You know, the rice farm.
Yes, the one that you put in your application to Chatterbox.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
That was really cool. When you applied, I remember thinking, who is this chick? This is such a neat motion. Like, I love it. Stickers. Oh my god. Rhea, if I watch all the Star Wars movies, can I have a sticker?
Yeah, I'll get you a sticker.
Thank you, Rhea. Okay, I'm gonna let you guys go. I'm sure you guys have trains to have with, etc. Thank you for this. I'm getting feedback done. I'm sorry. I know. I'm sorry. I suck, but I'm getting it done. Yes. Thanks, guys.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.